Over the next hour, we're going to have a great discussion with the head coach of our beloved Oilers, Ken Hitchcock. We're going to talk about leadership, resilience, transformation, and just like in business, Ken manages everything from strategy to execution, inspiring and motivating his teams, which is critical to deliver on his mandate. And I won't even say it, we all know what that mandate is.
When you're in a transformation stage or you're in an adjustment phase, it's not what you say that they follow, it's your belief in what you say they follow. So to me, if you want things to change, you have to get them to believe in you before they're going to believe in your message. You have to be able to look them in the eye, and they have to believe that there's a path and a cause that they can follow. Otherwise, you can give them the perfect information, they're not going to follow it. They can see it in your eye, they can hear it in your voice, they can see it in your body language, whether you believe in the message that you're delivering. Mm-hmm. And if you can't deliver that message properly and they don't believe it, it doesn't matter what the plan is, it's not going to work. And this is an exciting generation to work with younger people, because when I started in the business, you just told players what to do and they did it. And then there became kind of, in the early 2000s, you had to tell them what to do and how to do it. And now you're in the final stage. And the final stage for me is what to do, how to do it, and what's in it for them. Mm-hmm. And if you can't answer all three questions, they're not going to dig in for you. And especially younger generation. Mm-hmm. And it's the last question, quite frankly, in our business that get coaches fired. They're afraid to explain, they get offended or afraid at times to explain to the player, this is what's in it for you. Because they almost get offended by having to answer that. Mm-hmm. But unless you can answer that, they're not going to dig in and they're not going to buy in, and they're not going to help you run your company.
Talk to us a little bit about that first step. What did your vision look like, and what did your strategy look like in November 2018 when you hit the ground in Edmonton?
To me, the key to success in coaching or in leadership is being able to function through conflict. It's not going to be smooth all the time. There's going to be rough water. People are going to be a little bit disappointed, and you're going to still have to function and run the company in a proper manner. And that's what you have to do in coaching. Once you create glue in your company, once you create a fabric in your company that you can build from, the players become interchangeable. There's going to be significant change in this group next year. Mm-hmm. This is not going to be close to what is going to be here next year. But as long as the glue is in place, as long as the fabric's in place, then you can just add pieces to it. And you can keep going and going and going.
In your opinion, what are some of those top characteristics of a good leader?
If you're going to be a strong leader, they have to feel that you have their back. The partnership that the coaching staff has to have with the players is that the players have to understand that the coach is pushing them because he believes in them. Mm-hmm. It's not he's pushing them because he's angry at them or anything like that. He's pushing because he believes. That's the core. That has to be in place all the time, because the people that come to work, they'll be able to handle any situation put forward as long as they feel like you believe in them. Mm-hmm. You have to find ways to show that you believe in them every day so that they can dig in deeper and invest. The other part that's important is that the players have to feel like they own the team. Mm-hmm. So every chance you give to them in decision-making process, in inclusion, in involvement, in decisions that are being made around, you have to include them. It can't be a dictatorship. If you can do that stuff, then the investment becomes deeper. I'm good friends with guys like Andy Reid and Tony La Russa, who was the Cardinals manager. And Tony found a cause to play for every year. Mm-hmm. And he found a cause for the Cardinals to play for. And I think that's so important. And it's got to be deeper than 2 points or a win or financial success. You got to find something deeper. If you can find that, that's your job as a boss. That's your job as a leader, to look for it every day. Mm-hmm. and to lock onto it, so they come and they know it's bigger than them.
How are you measuring success for these guys? Is it all about the cup, or is it more so looking at those inputs like we chatted about before? And if so, can you share what some of those short-term wins are?
What I felt needed to change here was the value system. I felt that however long I do it for, if I could get the value system to change, I could put in a base and a foundation that you could draw from. And that's what's happened. Mm-hmm. The value system's changed here. The value system is less about skill and more about sacrifice. And you can see it on the bench, you can hear it in the locker room, you can see it at practice. Guys are cheering for each other. When they make sacrifices during the game, they're enhancing each other for making them during the in-between periods. They're really supportive of little things that are going on where they see players who are going out of their way to do things. And we're also involved in that. So to me,
It's not all about the W.
you know, and to me, the W takes care of itself. If the sacrifice level is high, the W takes care of itself. And that's the bonus that you want.
What inspires you to just keep going, fill your tank, get back out there, inspiring these guys?
The inspiration is to make people feel part of something much bigger. And I love that atmosphere. And
That's awesome.
I want to recreate that in every team I'm with and try to create that feeling where sacrifice is normal, which is what has changed here lately and is going on and it is being created kind of on a daily basis now.
So talk to us a little bit about how your leadership style has changed. So on the ice, so you can still manage, you can still influence their performance, but it's not all they're empowered, they can do what they want.
So you invest, to me, in the short-term things that work and know that the long-term things that are going to allow them to be better take time. And you can't be offended by how much time. So with younger people, you want them to change, you want them to adapt, you want them to conform. Just know that it's not going to happen overnight. So in other words, if I'm talking to a guy like Connor, if I'm going to talk to Connor about checking and stopping on pucks and stuff, that's going to take 2 years. But if I get him to compete at the puck and stay on the puck and the things that he enjoys, that's going to take 2 days.
Any advice you have for business owners in the room here that are either thinking about going through a transformation or going through a transformation, they're facing perhaps a bit of adversity, what's the advice you would give to help position them to win?
Well, I think it's all about value system. And I think if you can find in your value system a way to make the employees feel like they own the company, that's like gold. And if you can find it where they feel like they have as much at stake as you do, that's like gold. So to me, everything you do has to have that mindset. Inclusion, decision-making, questions, not being afraid of the answers, dealing through conflict. If your goal is, if we want to be productive, we have to get people dug in emotionally deep as we can. If you want to have success, I think that's the only way.
That's awesome.
Thank you.